It's quite rare for an event in sports for teams that I follow to catch me off guard. This is a move that caught me completely by surprise. I was not expecting it in the slightest. Greg Vanney is stepping down as head coach of Toronto FC. Now, we knew Vanney's contract was ending at the end of this year, but from all accounts, it sounded like him and TFC were nearing a contract extension as recently as October. So now, today, the day after TFC's end-of-season roster moves were announced, Greg Vanney has announced that he is stepping down as head coach. Now, no official reason has been given as of yet. Vanney said that this is a decision that he's been thinking about for a while and that he's talked about with his family, but there's no official reasoning for it. So far, this is sounding like the classic sports. Looking for a new challenge, want a fresh pace, want a fresh change of scenery, sort of thing. But officially, we don't know what the reason is. It does, however, sound like that this was Greg Vanney's decision and not Toronto FC forcing him out. Vanney is and was the first long-term coach Toronto FC ever had. He ends his TFC career, which started back in 2014, having managed 250 games for the club. The second best number of games managed for a manager is 64. He won 112 of those games. The second best for a manager is 18. And he has a winning percentage of 44.8%, which is 6% higher than the next highest TFC manager. It took 8 years of quick in and out little appearances with managers, 8 years with 8 different managers before TFC finally found Greg Vanney. And Vanney was the guy that TFC had been looking for. For all the praise that Michael Bradley and Sebastian Giovinco and Josie Altidore get for their importance to the 2016 MLS final run, the 2017 treble, the 2018 Champions League run. Greg Vanney is just as important, if not more than any of them. Now, he wasn't the manager here for 6 years without his criticisms. There were people knocking him for not playing on Canadians. There were people knocking some of his decisions, but you can't argue that the guy got results and that the guy took a Toronto FC team that had never even made the playoffs before and managed them to 3 MLS Cup Finals appearances, 1 MLS Cup, and a CONCACAF Champions League Finals. No other TFC coach has come anywhere close to accomplishing what Greg Vanney accomplished with this squad. And so it's with a heavy heart that I bid farewell to Greg Vanney as TFC's coach, and I wish him all the luck in wherever he ends up in the future. There's already been speculation that the LA Galaxy might be where he ends up. He did spend much of his playing career with the Galaxy. It would be interesting if him and if Zavaleta as well went and signed with the Galaxy for this season. I'm not saying Greg Vanney left because TFC didn't re-sign Zavaleta. That's probably not the case. But it is really funny given the timing that the day after TFC went out and said Zavaleta wasn't going to get a contract, that Greg Vanney announced that he was leaving. Definitely not the case. At least I hope not, but that is pretty funny timing. In terms of replacements, honestly, this got sprung so quickly and so out of left field. I wasn't expecting it at all. I have no idea who TFC could bring in to replace Greg Vanney. I think it would be interesting if they picked up a Canadian manager, specifically Bobby Smirniotis, with how good he's been in Hamilton with the Forge. I could see TFC possibly just, sending him an email saying, hey, would you be interested for an interview? In terms of Canadian managers ready to make the jump to MLS, I think Smirniotis is the guy to do that. But I feel like Toronto FC is going to look for a more established coach this time around. They're a team that has set a very high standard in recent years, and this extends with, look at their designated player signings. While a lot of teams are going for younger South American talent, Toronto FC is going for established designated players. They have a high standard to maintain, and they want to try and get guys that meet their standard. So while it's interesting to entertain the thought of a up-and-coming Canadian coach, I don't think it's going to happen. I think they're going to go for a more experienced guy. But besides that, I really have no idea who it might be. It's all just complete speculation. Again, this came completely completely out of nowhere for most Toronto FC fans. I don't think a lot of us saw Greg Vanney leaving at the end of the season. So I think we're going to see TFC sit a few days now, sit maybe a few weeks without a manager. And I think they're going to want to take their time with this one and make sure they get the right guy. The offseason is just starting. TFC has some very big decisions to make this offseason. They're already looking for another designated player. They already have a lot of question marks surrounding Josie Altidore. They already need new center backs, new left backs. So a new coach now is just another thing added on to a large list of things TFC needs to do this offseason. So this probably jumped up to the top of the things to do list for TFC. Find a new coach, because you need a new coach before you can figure out what system you're going to play and get a designated player or two to fit that system and bring in players to fit that system. So before TFC goes and starts jumping around getting players, it's time to get a new coach. And I'm very excited to see who it is. So again, that is the end of Greg Vanney's tenure as the coach of Toronto FC. Vanney, thank you for being just the best coach Toronto FC has ever had. The MLS Cup runs, just a fantastic past 5 years, do not happen without you. It has been an absolute pleasure to watch this team play under Greg Vanney, but unfortunately, like all good things, this chapter of Toronto FC's history must now come to an end. So, that does it for this video. If you liked it, hit like. If you want to see more of my stuff, hit subscribe. Follow me on Twitter. Link is down below in the description, and I will see you next time.